Episode 10, The Mystical Butterfly. Part 1, A Whisper of Wings. In the depths of absolute darkness, where hope had been extinguished for 7 long years, something impossible stirred. It was small, so small that even the all-seeing eyes of demons passed over it. It was delicate, so delicate that the brutal winds of the corrupted world should have destroyed it instantly. It was pure, so pure that its very existence in this realm of shadows defied every law the Dark Lord had written. It was a butterfly, white as fresh snow, fragile as a whisper, persistent as memory. The butterfly emerged from nowhere and everywhere at once. It fluttered through the ruins of Astoria, past the Cathedral of Evil where demons conducted their blasphemous rites. It danced around the stake-mounted heads at the Monument to Futility, bringing the first movement other than suffering those dead eyes had witnessed in weeks. Commander Marcus's severed head, forced to watch eternal horrors, saw it clearly. For one impossible moment, his tortured mind felt something it hadn't felt since the spike pierced his body. Peace. Just a flutter of peace, gone as quickly as the butterfly passed, but real. The butterfly continued its journey, drawn by a pull it didn't understand, guided by a purpose it couldn't name. Part 2, The Descent begins. The butterfly found cracks in reality that shouldn't exist. Tiny fissures between the mortal realm and the depths of hell. These cracks were wounds left by the Dark Lord's violent conquest, tears in the fabric of existence that even he didn't know about. The butterfly, weightless and innocent, slipped through. Hell recognized the intruder immediately. The burning plains shuddered. The lakes of fire rippled with confusion. The screaming winds fell silent. Something pure had entered the realm of absolute corruption, and hell itself didn't know how to respond. Lesser demons saw it and fled, not from fear but from confusion. They literally couldn't process what they were seeing. Their minds, built only for cruelty and suffering, had no framework for understanding pure innocence. The butterfly fluttered deeper, past the sorting stations where souls were catalogued for eternal torment, past the transformation chambers where hope was surgically removed from new arrivals, past the viewing galleries where demons entertained themselves with mortal anguish. Each level of hell grew more disturbed by its presence. Torture devices malfunctioned. Chains rusted and broke. The screams of the damned became, for brief moments, something almost like songs. Part 3, The Impossible Path. How did this fragile creature navigate hell's infinite mazes? How did its delicate wings not burn in the sulfurous air? How did its tiny form not get crushed by the weight of concentrated evil? The butterfly followed a path that didn't exist until it flew it. Each flutter of its wings created the next inch of safe passage, as if reality itself was making way for something that shouldn't be but was. Demon lords sensed it now, princes of hell who commanded legions who had existed since the first sin. They converged on its location, bringing armies, bringing power that could shatter mountains. They found nothing. The butterfly was there, they could feel it, but when they looked directly at it, their eyes saw only empty air. When they reached for it, their claws passed through space. It existed in their blind spot, the place where absolute evil cannot perceive absolute innocence.
Find it. Something violates our realm.
Thousands of demons searched. They tore apart the landscape, they interrogated tortured souls, they used every tracking spell known to the infernal realms. The butterfly fluttered past them all, unnoticed and unharmed, drawn ever deeper by its mysterious purpose. Part 4, The Rock of Eternal Burning. At the heart of hell's deepest level, where even demon lords feared to tread, Gabriel burned. 7 years of unceasing agony had transformed the once mighty archangel into something beyond recognition. His body was more flame than flesh now, constantly consuming and regenerating. The chains that bound him had fused with his being. He was as much a part of hell's rock as the rock was part of hell. His screams had long ago become part of hell's soundtrack, a constant note in the symphony of suffering. But today, for the first time in 7 years, Gabriel fell silent. He had seen something impossible. A white butterfly, dancing in the flames that surrounded him.
Hallucination. Another torture. Another way to break what's already broken.
But the butterfly landed on his chest, exactly where his heart would be if angels truly had hearts. And where it touched, the burning stopped. Not ceased, not paused, but stopped. A tiny circle of unburned flesh appeared, the first in 7 years. Gabriel wept tears that evaporated before they could fall.
What are you?
The butterfly's wings fluttered, and in that movement, Gabriel heard something. Not words, but meaning. Not a voice, but a message. I descend to break your chains. Part 5. The Breaking of Eternal Bonds. The butterfly took flight again, circling Gabriel's chained form. Where its wings created tiny breezes, the iron chains of hell, forged from the concept of bondage itself, began to crack. Not break, not shatter, but crack. Hairline fractures that shouldn't be possible in materials that were ideas more than metal.
Stop. They'll destroy you. The Dark Lord will.
But the butterfly continued its dance. More cracks appeared. The chain sang a note they'd never sung before, not of binding but of breaking. Then came the demons. Alerted by the impossible silence where Gabriel's screams should be, they swarmed the rock of eternal burning. Hundreds of them, then thousands, a black tide of claws and teeth and malice.
What abomination is this?
They attacked the butterfly with everything. Hellfire that could melt angels, void touches that could erase souls, curse words that could rewrite reality. Nothing worked. Their attacks passed through the butterfly as if it wasn't there, or perhaps as if they weren't there. It existed on a frequency of reality that hell couldn't touch. The chains cracked further, began to sing louder, began to break. Part 6. Gabriel's Freedom. With a sound like the universe drawing breath, the chains shattered. Gabriel fell from the rock of eternal burning, his body hitting hell's floor for the first time in 7 years. He couldn't stand, his legs had forgotten how. He couldn't spread wings, they had been burned away years ago. But he was free. The demons stood frozen, unable to comprehend what they were witnessing. The iron chains of hell didn't break. They couldn't break. They were eternal, absolute, unbreakable.
Kill the angel. Before the Dark Lord.
You can't kill what's already dead inside. But this you can't even touch.
The butterfly descended, landing on Gabriel's shoulder. Where it perched, feathers began to grow. Not the white feathers of his former glory, not the black feathers of his corruption, but gray feathers, something between something new.
No, not new. Balanced. Neither light nor dark, but twilight. The space between.
Wings erupted from his back, gray wings that sparkled with possibilities. He stood, no longer the Archangel Gabriel, no longer the corrupted prisoner, but something hell had never seen before. Something free. Part 7. The Escape. The butterfly led the way, and Gabriel followed. Through hell's infinite levels, past armies of demons who attacked but couldn't touch them. They moved through a path that existed only as they traveled it, a road of impossibility through the heart of damnation.
Seal hell. Nothing leaves without the Dark Lords.
But they were already gone. The butterfly had found another crack, another wound in reality. Gabriel, with his new gray wings, followed it through, leaving hell for the first time since his fall. They emerged in the mortal realm, in a place of utter desolation, the ruins of the Temple of Last Light where this all began. Gabriel collapsed, his body shaking from the transition. 7 years of torture couldn't be shaken off in moments. The butterfly circled him once more, then began to fly away.
Wait, what are you? Why did you save me?
The butterfly paused in the air, and for just a moment, Gabriel saw something impossible. The butterfly's wings became transparent, and through them he saw a face. A child's face. A child who had been taken by the Pied Piper years ago, led away by corrupted music to become one of the Dark Lord's soldiers. But this child had done something impossible. At the moment of transformation, when the corruption should have been absolute, they had chosen to become something else entirely. Not corrupted, not pure, but transformed into living innocence itself. A butterfly of pure soul. Part 8. The Dark Lord's Discovery. In his throne room, the Dark Lord suddenly screamed. It wasn't a scream of rage or frustration. It was a scream of pain. Actual, physical pain. Something he hadn't felt since before his rise, since before he became the concept of evil itself. On his chest, exactly where a heart would be if he possessed such a weakness, a mark had appeared. A tiny burn in the shape of a butterfly.
Impossible. Nothing can hurt me. I am eternal. I am.
Another burn appeared. Another butterfly shape, searing into his perfect form. The registry of souls burst open on its own, pages flipping wildly. The blank pages, hundreds of them now, were filling in. Not with names, but with images. Butterflies. Every corrupted child who had kept even the tiniest fragment of innocence. Every soul the Pied Piper had led away who had remembered, even for a second, who they used to be. Every victim of the Tooth Fairy's curse who had thought, just once, of their mother's love. They were all becoming butterflies. Not their bodies, those remained corrupted, enslaved, destroyed. But the parts of their souls that couldn't be touched, the innocence that absolute evil couldn't perceive or corrupt, those parts were breaking free. Part 9, The First Doubt. For 7 years, the Dark Lord had been absolutely certain of his victory. Every rebellion crushed, every hero broken, every hope extinguished. But now, staring at the butterfly burns spreading across his body, he felt something he hadn't felt since before his power was absolute. Doubt.
Herald, Gabriel has escaped hell. That's impossible, my lord. The iron chains were broken by this. Find out what these are. Find out how innocence still exists in my realm. My lord, perhaps the Pied Piper or the Tooth Fairy. Bring them.
Philly and Luminara appeared, summoned by the Dark Lord's will. They knelt, but even they could see something was wrong. Their master, the invincible Dark Lord, had marks on his body, wounds that weren't healing.
Your corruptions were imperfect. The children you took, parts of them escaped.
Why, Lord, we followed your instructions exactly.
Yet innocence survived, hidden in the spaces you couldn't corrupt. And now they're becoming something I cannot touch.
Luminara dared to look up. In her corrupted fairy eyes, something flickered. Not hope, she was too far gone for hope, but recognition.
The butterflies. I remember, when I was young, before I was the Tooth Fairy, children used to say that butterflies were souls learning to fly.
Souls I own. Every soul in this realm belongs to me.
But even as he squeezed, another butterfly burn appeared on his arm. Somewhere, another child's innocence had transformed, escaped, become something beyond his reach. Part 10, The Undefeated No More. The Dark Lord stood on his throne room's balcony, looking out over his domain. For 7 years, he had been the Lord of Darkness. Undefeated, unconquered, undying. But now, as butterfly burns spread across his form like inverse stars, he knew the truth. He could be hurt. He could be defied. He was not absolute. In the distance, Gabriel flew on gray wings, no longer falling, no longer corrupted, but something new. Something the Dark Lord hadn't planned for, couldn't plan for, because it existed in the space his evil had created but couldn't fill. And everywhere, butterflies were beginning to appear. One from each corrupted child. One from each stolen innocence. One from each forced transformation. They were small. They were fragile. They were individually powerless. But there were thousands of them. And they were growing.
My lord, your orders.
The Dark Lord was silent for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice had lost its absolute certainty.
Find them. Find every butterfly. Destroy them. My lord, we've tried. We can't touch them. They exist in my blind spot.
The Dark Lord roared, then stopped, his eyes widening.
My blind spot. The space absolute evil cannot perceive.
He laughed, but it was different from his usual laugh. This had uncertainty in it. Fear, even.
They found my weakness. The children found the one thing I cannot see, cannot touch, cannot corrupt. Pure innocence. The one thing I thought I had destroyed completely.
Epilogue, the mystery deepens. That night, across the Dark Lord's domain, strange things happened. The corrupted child soldiers, those who had followed the Pied Piper, paused in their patrols. For just a moment, their dead eyes flickered with something else. Memory? Regret? Or just the ghost of who they used to be? Children who had eaten the Tooth Fairy's cursed candy stopped in the middle of their soul hunting. They looked at their hands as if seeing them for the first time in years. And everywhere, butterflies appeared. Not many. Most souls were too corrupted, too broken. But some. Enough. Gabriel found refuge in the ruins of an old monastery, his gray wings wrapped around him like a cloak. He thought about the butterfly that saved him, about the child's face he'd seen in its wings.
You didn't just resist. You transformed. You became something even the Dark Lord didn't imagine possible.
Miles away, at the monument to futility, something extraordinary happened. A butterfly landed on little David's preserved corpse, on the wooden sword still clutched in his dead hands. The sword began to glow, not with holy light or dark corruption, but with something else. Something new. Something that suggested the war between light and darkness might have a third option. The Dark Lord felt it, another burn, another mark of defiance. He stood from his throne of ashes and spoke to the darkness.
I am still the Dark Lord. I still rule this realm. But I am no longer undefeated.
The first crack had appeared in his absolute victory. And everyone knows, the first crack is just the beginning. End of episode 10.
Conquered lands, demon armies raise their hands, human skulls on banners high, no more tears for them to cry. Every fortress has been taken, every hope has been forsaken, Dark Lord rules from shore to shore, mankind exists no more. Shadows, magic stirs, ancient words that no one hears. From the ashes of the slain rises hope to break the chain. Butterfly of ages pass, through the realms of death you pass. Touch the angel bound in stone, wake the power he has known. Volat per portas mortis intrat. the chains are broken. The ancient curse has been awoken. The archangel has fled his cell. He's escaped the depths of hell. Impossible! Check again! He was bound by eternal pain. Who dares to break my perfect seal? A butterfly, my lord, mystical and small. It passed through every wall. No, it can't be. After centuries of victory, find him, hunt him, bring him back. Ready every soul for attack.
Papilio, liberavit, angelum, spes, renata.